there, everyone. Welcome back to Are You Smarter Than a Libertarian, the only show on the internet where you can test your libertarian knowledge and see if your personal liberty IQ stacks up. I'm your host, Jeff, and today's episode is a special one. We're diving deep into the life and legacy of the man, the myth, the anarcho-capitalist legend, Murray Rothbard. Now, if you're new to the realm of libertarianism, you might be thinking, Murray who? Well, prepare yourself because we're about to explore the life and ideas of a brilliant mind who helped shape the modern libertarian movement. We'll trace his journey from a curious kid devouring economic books to becoming one of the most influential thinkers in the Austrian School of Economics. And of course, we'll throw in a few fun facts that you can use to dazzle your friends at your next big liberty-themed dinner party, if that's your thing. So, what is this Austrian School of Economics? Think of it as a school of thought that emphasizes individual decision-making, free markets, and the importance of entrepreneurial discovery. It's characterized by a heavy skepticism towards government intervention in the economy. Murray Rothbard helped bring the Austrian school's idea front and center in the American libertarian thought, placing special emphasis on individual liberty, private property rights, and a radical critique of the Federal Reserve, which I think we all need to have a radical critique of. If that sounds like your cup of tea, buckle up. If it doesn't, at least you'll have some interesting conversation starters for your next family gathering. Hopefully it doesn't go sideways. Rothbard wrote a ton over his lifetime. He was a prolific writer. His hallmark works include Man, Economy, and State in 1962. This massive tome revisits and expands on Ludwig von Mises' theory of economics, laying out a systemic case for a free market economy free from government meddling. For a New Liberty, this book is often considered a libertarian manifesto. This book sets forth an ideology of a stateless society, 100% laissez-faire, not like Marx's was 100% state. The Ethics of Liberty, 1982. Here, Rothbard dives into the philosophical foundations of libertarian ethics, tackling everything from the non-aggression principle to property rights. Now, if reading 1,000 pages on free markets gets your adrenaline pumping, you should definitely check these out. If not, at least keep them around as doorstops. Really sturdy doorstops. One of Rothbard's most significant contributions to libertarian thought was his advocacy for anarcho-capitalism. Picture a society without a state, yet it's organized around voluntary exchange, private property, and decentralized institutions, and we need to be more decentralized. He believed that all the services we typically associate with government, like policing, courts, and defense, could be provided by private entities in a free market. Sounds extreme, maybe. But for Rothbard, it was the only logical extension of the principle of self-ownership and the non-aggression principle. Now, let's talk about some of the key principles here. The non-aggression principle: don't use force or fraud against others. Property rights: you own yourself and your property. If you're wondering how all that shakes out in reality, well, that's the perpetual debate in libertarian circles. Rothbard didn't just write books, he also founded institutions and built communities of scholars dedicated to expanding libertarian thought. He was heavily involved in the formation of the Ludwig von Mises Institute and worked to bring libertarian economics into the public consciousness. He also said the masses need to be educated on economics. For many, he is seen as a radical thinker, the intellectual backbone of the movement. Even if people disagree with him, they couldn't ignore the sheer scope of his scholarship and the force of his arguments. You can't argue against what he talked about. He was a firebrand for sure, but that's exactly what the libertarian movement needed to break through the noise. Someone fierce enough to say, let's scrap the system and build a better one from the ground up. We in the libertarian movement are standing on the shoulders of giants, and he is one of them. Now, before we wrap things up, let me give you some fun little tidbits about Rothbard that you might not know. a massive bibliograph. Rothbard penned literally thousands of pages during his lifetime, not just in economics, but also in history and political strategy. Personality plus, he had a wry sense of humor and was known to crack jokes in academic settings. Influential allies and rivals, from Ludwig von Mises to Ayn Rand, Rothbard had interactions with nearly every big name in libertarian and conservative thought. He sometimes made friends, and sometimes not so much. But we all been there. Hey, not everyone can be a crowd pleaser 24/7. That's the truth. Now it's time to play your favorite segment. Are you smarter than a libertarian? Let's see how well you've been paying attention. I'll fire up a quick question, and you shout your answer at home or work or wherever you might be. Your neighbors might freak out, but you're learning. Question: what is the principle called that prohibits initiating force or fraud against others? It's a concept central to Rothbard's philosophy. I'll give you a second. Got it? Yes, it's the non-aggression principle, often shortened to NAP. If you get that right, you're well on your way to earning your Libertarian Merit Badge, a strictly voluntary badge, of course. That's all we have time for today, folks. Thank you for joining me on Are You Smarter Than a Libertarian for our deep dive into Murray Rothbard's life and ideas. Whether you're a budding libertarian scholar or just curious about the movement, I hope you learned something new and maybe found a new reading list for those cozy weekend afternoons. As always, until next time, remember, your freedom to watch YouTube videos is precious. New videos drop every day. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Remember to stay free, stay informed, and stay accountable. Have a great day.